Hello and welcome back to another hacking video. I'm Ed. In the last video, we looked at using a tool called enum for Linux, and that gave us information about the domain, about the users, the groups, group policy, etc., etc. Now we can take this a step further, and we can run another tool that can pretty much do the same, give us the same information. So just be aware that you're not always going to use the same tool to basically do things. You might have one tool that works, you might have another one that doesn't work. So you need to have a mix in your bag of tricks when you're actually pen testing. And sometimes I find RPCClient works, other times doesn't work. Same for enum for Linux, same for WinPs, LinPs, etc. So RPCClient is in Kali Linux, and it's actually quite straightforward to specify this command. We use the -u option, which is the username, percentage, and then, sorry, password, and then you put in the IP address. And if we hit enter, you'll see we get to a prompt. So that means either we are connected or we are not connected. So let's try the first command. So let's query the domain. So the command is query dom info. And that should come back and tell us the domain name and how many users, groups, aliases, etc. If there was an issue with this account, it would have come back and said access denied. The next step, what we can do here is go enum dom users, and that will basically query all the users. And you see how fast it is. I mean, it's pretty quick compared to enum for Linux. I mean, enum for Linux does a great job, don't get me wrong, but this is actually pretty quick. Like I say, it doesn't always work. You can also look at privileges within the domain. So enum groups, and this will basically give you what privileges have been found. Now, there's other options you can use, such as enum dom groups. If there are any groups that you wanting to look in, you can then dig further into that. I'm not going to go into that into this video. You can also query users. So if you find a user you want to query, let's, for example, go query user1 as an example. We know user1 is the one that I'm currently using, and it's our exploit user. And it actually gives you some nice information about the user. Obviously, if all these other parts were filled in, you'd have information. But yeah, you can see logon time, kickoff time. Obviously, this is very, very wrong, the date. And then when the password can change and must change, you can see, and obviously the date and timestamp. And then you can get the RID information, and if there's a bad password count, login count, etc. There's other options that you can do. You can, for example, in a previous video with enum for Linux, we saw the domain information, so password information. You can do that. You can also do the SID. So if you want to enumerate SIDs, you can also create a user from here if you want to. It might not always work for you. And then you can also look up names in here. You can look up the built-in groups, for example. So if you wanted to go to enum als groups built-in, let's check if the spelling is right. Yeah. So here we can see all our groups, just as we saw in enum for Linux. So I'm not going to go through the list because you can do shares and all that information. It's just wanting to show you that different tools can give the same output, but sometimes not all the tools will work in your scenario. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I thank you very much for watching.